This is the unofficial, unscientific installation routine of the RA2 by xTool, the rotary attachment, which is really cool and lets you do things like this. The manual isn't great. It shows you a lot of pictures. It's kind of like an IKEA manual with not a lot of words and a lot of pictures. There's so many different languages around the world. It's really hard to do that. So this is the base roller assembly. And this is, if you're lazy, you're just going to pop this in here and then do like one little small area on a tumbler. But we wanted to take this a little further and actually install the unit, the gear unit, the mechanism that turns things so we could do really cool things like wine glasses or Christmas balls. So we went the full length for you here. This is your chuck, and I'll explain how that works. This is the gear assembly and the little belt that drives this thing, and we'll show you what this does in a second. All this comes in the second box. It's like a tape measure, a little roller, so you can figure out your circumference. They call it surface area, whatever they call it here, and another little doodad too, and I'll show you what all this stuff does. So if you're just doing the basic, you could just throw this in here and you can engrave a tiny little thing on a tumbler. But that's boring. Let's go next level. Let's do some wine glasses. Let's install this automatic turning assembly. So you have to take the rollers out to do this. And you can replace them, so you want to put them somewhere safe because you may want to put them back in and do a tumbler someday, who knows. So these little brackets come off the end and the two little rollers are going to come off. And you want to put them somewhere safe. There's also a little bolt in there that's going to hold it and it kind of secures the rollers in place. So don't lose those either. You're going to need those sometimes. I just put them back into the box so I always know where they are, and I have a separate drawer for all those RA2 attachments. So now what we're going to do is we're going to install this little doodad, and it has two little spacers. I guess they're spacer nuts in there. I don't know what the official name of them is, but they have to be in there. So you're going to kind of put that in there, and then you're going to flip it over, and then you're going to look inside, and they give you two little Allen wrenches, those little wrenches, and you're going to put the one in there that fits and just loosen that up like a turn, just so it doesn't fall out. That's all those two nuts do. And now we're going to put our belt on, our belt drive, and this is where it starts to get really exciting. And this hooks on to that unit you just put on there, and it screws into it's the A and B. Yeah, two little screws in there, and you want your 20 millimeters. This is all in the book. It's pretty simple to follow. And that locks that into place. And this is your chuck. This is what makes it bigger or smaller. So this is what we're going to use. I call this the ball attachment here. And this is where you're going to use you could do baseballs, you could engrave baseballs, you could do Christmas balls. And we're going to do a glass Christmas ornament. We're not going to do a plastic one because you really can't do that. It would melt. That would be bad. So this is a glass, cheap, inexpensive Christmas ornament. And you just block it up there against those little metal pegs and then lock this guy. It's got a little lever on the bottom which locks it in. You don't want to do it too tight because it's glass. It's really thin glass. So here it gives me the measurements, 2.5 inches or 65 millimeters diameter. And this is the plug-in for the RA2, the rotary unit. That's what that extra plug is for. I always wondered what that was for, and I didn't know till we set this up. And that cord just runs under. It's not super long, but it's long enough to work. And just slide that right underneath that plexiglass in the back if you have the riser. I think you have to have the riser for this. And this only goes in one way, and this gives controlling and power to the RA2. So we've got this all assembled and ready to go. I could open that up now because I'm going to put my ball in here. I can't do that. Well, I could have done it outside, but when you're working with it, you're probably going to do it inside the unit itself. And just push this up. Again, not too tight, but tight enough that it's not going to go anywhere because this mechanism, this motor is going to need a turn, and you can see how the ball turns there. And when you do really long designs, it is going to turn. Now you need to change this. Now we're going to laser cylindrical. A lot of people have never used this before. And then you're going to click your distance here, and it's going to try to find it, but it needs that red spot to find the highest point. You see there's a little laser in there that measures how far it is. So you may have to move, just kind of slide it across here and get that little red laser dot on the highest part of whatever you're engraving. And then it will succeed at its auto measure and take everything from there. Now, you're going to need to enter some manual things here. I know that my balls are 65 millimeters in diameter, and if you times that by 3.14, Yeah, algebra's coming back here, right? Or geometry. It automatically calculates that other setting, which tells me how far I can go on the perimeter of this guy, on the outside, the circumference. And I'm looking at this thing, wait, that needs to be upside down because the little, the hanger doodad, whatever that thing is called, the scientific term, is on the top. So I don't want my ball to be upside down and awkward. That'd be weird because everybody have to stand on their head to see it. So I'm going to shrink this down so it'll fit on there. And it will tell me if I'm going out of the usable space. See, it says it's out of the processing area. So I need to shrink it up a little bit more to fit it on the circumference of my ornament or glass or whatever I'm doing. So it's doing all the math for you, which is really nice. I'm going to hit engrave. It turns that solid blue. Now power on the Christmas ornaments, they're super thin. So you really don't want to go more than 11. 11 seems to be the magic number for us. 100 seems to be a good speed, one pass, and we do 200 because I like there to be a lot of detail, especially if I'm doing graphics. And I'm just going to set those settings. It's ready to go. You can click framing if you want, but it doesn't really tell you anything because it's kind of a weird, awkward video preview here. And then it starts doing its job. And again, you don't have to be worried about this thing blowing up your Christmas ball. Probably 10 or 11. 10 was almost like not enough. And 11 gave us the perfect detail just to take that first level, that first coating of paint off of it. And then take this out and look how beautiful this is. You've just made your first Christmas ornament. Again, it only works with glass. Don't try this with plastic. And a little bit of our M was not there, and we're figuring that out as we go along. We're learning just like you are. But how cool is that? You can make customized Christmas glass ornaments. That's next level. So we decided we wanted to try a wine glass. Now, you can do stemmed wine glasses, but for our first project, we wanted to do a stemless, keep it easy. Now, your M1 cannot see things that are transparent, so we used some chalk paint. And red just seemed to be a little bit easier to use. We did it with black as well, and you can use black. You use any color. You use white, red, whatever you want. And I just thought red was kind of Christmassy and kind of fitting. And we did one with that, and we did one with black just to make sure it was completely opaque. This was our first one here. And you're going to use your little chuck tool to turn that in. And again, not too tight because we're dealing with glass here. And I've covered all the areas that I want to engrave in, and just push this little suction cup up against it and lock it in. And you are ready to set this thing up. I've already measured it. I've got the highest point in the center where the laser is. And again, you don't have to do any of this too tight, just tight enough so it will turn freely. And we downloaded a design here, and this is the red one here. It's easier to see on the video, which is why we use this on the video. The black one is the one we're engraving right now, but again, you could use any color. But it is notoriously dark when you do the preview, and it's a little weird. Make sure you turn these designs the right way. Now, I didn't have it set right here. I had to change this whole thing because I didn't have it set to cylinder. And once you do the cylinder, the preview, the laser cylindrical, the preview changes to that narrow, dark thing. So then I'll have to rearrange my graphics so they're going to engrave where I want them to engrave. Now, my auto measure failed because I moved everything. So I had to refresh the view and then make sure that red spot is at the highest point of the cylinder. I had to move it over again here. And there it is, looks good. So for engraving glasses, you want to do 100% power. 75 millimeters a second for speed works really well. One pass, and you could do 100 or 200 for your resolution just to make sure it's real tight. And just hit your button, and there it goes. It starts shooting laser beams at this. Look how cool. It looks like molten lava, doesn't it? So this is the red one. We did the same thing with the black, the same exact process. And you can see it just burns that paint off and then engraves right into the glass really nicely. Because when you have the... you see my air assist is kinked there. I actually fixed that. And let's take a look at how it came out. Yeah, we fixed it right after this video. You don't want that air assist to be kinked because you don't get the airflow. And there it is. Look at this. This is like a professional glass that you buy in a store. This is mass-produced by the millions. How adorable is that? Now, the chalk paint, a little warm water, and it just scrapes right off. It comes right off like it was never there. You might have a little bit inside the letters, but you just scrub that out with a washcloth and it goes away. That is amazing. What a gift this is going to make. God, I hope they're not watching this. It's amazing. And it feels like a legitimate, professionally made glass. So you can make all these things using the RA2 Rotary assembly with your xTool M1. Enjoy.